So you might have forgotten that the Bruins had a pretty shitty free agency. Pretty shitty. Like the head scratcher, the one that got everybody thinking was the Tanner Jeannot one. But then everything else was equally as confusing. My friends and I, we've called them the vibes signings. Sean Corrali, maybe Mikey Asimon, if you want to put him in there. Andrew Peak to a certain extent. Just vibes guys. Like, who was begging for Sean Corrali to come back? Who was like, you know what this team really needs after being 28th in the league in scoring last year and finishing 15th in the Eastern Conference? They need to bring back that kid, Sean Corrali. Remember him? Scored the Winter Classic, scored in all those Game 7s. Guy just scored big goals. He scored about 8 of them a year, but that's what we need to bring back. Low risk, sure. But again, a guy you signed multi-years. He's just another fourth-line guy. Michael Asimont, Matej Blumel, the kid from Northeastern, they're all third-pairing defensemen or fourth-line guys. And what really bugs me about that is not just spending money on fourth-line guys, but the fact that you are desperate to have some young, cost-controlled, skilled guys. You've been desperate for years, and now you might actually have some that can play at the NHL level, right? Matthew Poitras, Fraser Minton, Fabian Lysell, bit of a waiver, but still, Mason Lowry. And yet, when you finally got a team that stinks enough that you can put them in the lineup every night, you're not trusting them either. You're just, it's been so classic Don Sweeney the last 3 or 4 years. They just will do anything to not give these guys a chance. Because now you pick up Sean Corrali and Mikey Asimont and Matej Blumel. That's taking ice time away from Matthew Poitras and Fraser Minton. That might be taking legit opportunities in the NHL away from Fabian Lysell and Georgi Merkulov. And you'll never find out what you actually have because you just want to bring in these depth guys instead. You want to spend money and bring in extraneous guys from other teams. External is the word I was looking for. You want to bring in external plug guys to see if they can be in the NHL over your own prospects, over the guys that you drafted, over the guys that you traded for in the case of Fraser Minton. All their paths are going to be blocked. These guys need to be playing NHL minutes. They need to be playing with legit NHL guys night in, night out. And instead, you brought in more plugs. That's what I'm really wondering here. When I'm looking at a 21-year-old Fraser Minton, a 22, 23-year-old Fabian Lysell, guys who need to be in the NHL, who have done what they can in the American League, it's time for them to be in the big leagues with the big league players. Does this block their path? Does this block their development? And if the answer is yes, which I think it is, how is that helping the future of your franchise? Because, see, there's two different ways you can go about your bottom six. Two distinctly different ways. And Don Sweeney is trying to do a little bit of both, and as a result, he's not going to accomplish either thing. There's two ways you can treat your bottom six. You can be where the Bruins are at right now as a bad team with no short-term excitement and have some prospects who are right on the fringe. Those guys, those prospects should be filling your bottom six. And someone like an Arvidsson or a Tanner Jeannot is on there with them. But mostly it's going to be made up of Fraser Minton, Matthew Poitras, Georgi Merkulov, Fabian Lysell. Those guys, and maybe Don Flochmelis at some point in the season. Those guys should be filling out the bottom six spots, and you see what you have. Maybe you hit on some, and a year or two from now, you've got a clear picture of where you need to go, and hopefully by then you're a better team. The second option that you have with your bottom six is bringing in veteran guys who are very cheap. Good teams do that. I've talked about the Panthers a lot. They don't spend any money on their bottom six. They bring in proven NHL guys on one-year deals, vet minimum, not paying them anything, really. And that's what good teams do. That's what the Bruins have done in the past, with Marcus Johansson and Danton Heinen and, this, that, and the other. That's what you do when you have a good team. The Bruins don't have a good team. They do have somewhat promising prospects, and they've decided to dip their toes into both baths here, both rivers, both creeks. They've decided to try and do a little bit of both. Let's stunt the growth of our prospects by bringing in these bottom 6 plug guys who should be signed short-term by good teams. Let's give them multi-year deals and maybe completely block the path for our young prospects making their way in the NHL. That's what doesn't make sense about any of this, about their whole free agency. The Bruins are a bad team, and they're operating like a contending team. They're bringing in multi-year guys, bottom 6 guys. They're spending up to the cap. If ever there was a time where Bruins fans would be okay with you not spending up to the cap, this is it. You say, look, we made some moves last year. We brought Fraser Minton in. We brought in Yoki Haru. We brought in Marat Hustadinov. And we've got our young guys. We've got Fabian Lysell. We've got Matthew Poitras. We've got Georgi Merkulov, who just needs to see if the kid can play in the NHL at all. This is the year you would say that. We're not going to make a big splash in free agency this year. It's not a big free agency year, and we're not in the position to spend and make our team better for 2025-26. We're going to figure out what the kids have. We've got a good prospect coming up in James Higgins. We're going to see what the kids have, and we're going to have a lot of money to go after a really good free agent class next year. A really good free agent class, even if the top guys extend with their own team, which is probably what's going to happen. But instead, Don Sweeney wants to do both. He's got the big brain master plan. He's going to bring in the plugs and pay them and spend up to the cap and take time away from your Husnadinovs, from your Poitras, from your Mittens. That just doesn't add up to me. This is not how a good, smart, shrewd hockey team operates. And yet there are the Bruins. It worked when you had a core. You could do stuff like this. You could make the kind of trades that they were making. But the thing about the Bruins, and specifically Don Sweeney, is it's just 1 foot in, 1 foot out. They do a fire sale at the trade deadline. They're starting over. Everybody in the league can see that they're starting over. And then they treat free agency like they're not starting over. Like they just need a couple more pieces in the bottom 6. You don't. You need so much more than that. And then with Don Sweeney himself, it becomes a make or break offseason for Don, as Cam Neely said. And then they extend him before he hires a coach, before free agency, before the NHL draft. So in between this fire sale, finishing in 15th and being a make or break offseason, between that and anything happening that the GM controls, he gets an extension. 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Oh, you want to double down on that kind of thought process? How about I say 2-year extension? The lowest possible extension of term that you could have. 1 foot in, 1 foot out. That's what the Bruins are now. That's how they show us in free agency. That's how they show us in their draft. That's how they show us in extending their GM. They just can't make up their mind whether they're rebuilding or whether they're ready to win. And they give you the bullshit term of retooling. Retooling doesn't exist. It's not in today's NHL, man. You're either rebuilding or you're winning. The Bruins want to be the only team in the league that's doing neither. See how it works out for them. Bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it works. Let me know what you guys think about this Bruins philosophy, about Bruins free agency and how they handled it. Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're coming at you live on YouTube 5 days a week. and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. Check out the other videos on the channel talking Bruins, Red Sox, everything else going on in the world of Boston sports. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke keeps us on the air. We want to hear from you, and we want you to get us towards 4,000 subscribers. Over 90% of you watching aren't actually subscribed yet. It's completely free, and we're talking nothing but Boston sports, baby.